I'm with you until 12 noon, and John Beattie takes over. Now, actor James Nesbitt has said his much talked about hair transplants have given him a new lease of life, boosting his confidence and actually benefiting his career as an actor as well. After admitting he struggled with hair loss, he underwent several procedures over a number of years and now says he's very happy to talk openly about it. Of course, he's not the first high-profile celebrity to go down this route, and it seems there have been lots of developments in this area in recent years. So what is the reality of having a hair transplant? What difference can it make? Joining me to talk about this is Spencer Stevenson, who's had 10 hair transplants down the years and now runs a website that advises men who are going bald on effective treatments for dealing with hair loss. And also with us on this is Cheryl Iglesias, who is a hair specialist for the company Transform. Welcome to you both this morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Spencer,
thanks for having us on the show.
Tell us your story first. 10 hair transplants. When was the first one and why?
Yeah, I know, that takes some doing. I've had a number of hair transplants over the years. The first one I had, I was at a young age of 24. I had tried various treatments, wigs, laser. Nothing had been successful. So I felt, due to my isolation, and I was so desperate and vulnerable, I opted for a hair transplant. And unfortunately, due to where the industry was at then and the technology that was available, the procedure wasn't particularly successful, and it left me in a situation which left me looking quite unnatural. So I kind of entered into the tunnel and I had to continue through it to get out to the other side, which was a combination of further hair transplants. I became a repair patient, and luckily I lived to tell the tale, and now, as you mentioned, I provide a website to help educate people appropriately with not just hair transplants, but appropriate treatments to help prevent further hair loss, because hair loss is progressive, and if you don't stop it, then hair transplants aren't necessarily going to be for you, because obviously the nature of hair continues to fall out.
Spencer, you said that hair loss is a cancer of the spirit. Why was it so important to you to do something about it?
It was vital for me personally to do something about it, because when I started to lose my hair, it really affected me emotionally, psychologically, and it affected my self-esteem and my confidence, and I was very isolated as a result of it. And until you've lost your hair, it's a very difficult kind of emotion to comprehend, a feeling to comprehend. And it was vital to me, because at that time, up until that age, I was very well known for my hair. I was, essentially called David Hasselhoff. I was called the Hoff. I had so much hair. So it was kind of a kick in the teeth for me to start losing my hair, because it had been such an important part of my image. However, it is obviously very traumatic for a guy to lose his hair at a young age. But I have kind of dealt with a vast number of people across the age groups from 20 up to the age of 70, all who deal with or are affected by hair loss and want to and do something about it, because it has affected them on the same kind of level, the emotional level and the trauma and the anxiety that hair loss causes. It is a hidden epidemic, hair loss, and it really does cause a great deal of emotional trauma, and it's something that society just kind of laughs at. But until you're experiencing it, it's very difficult to comprehend. And once you have experienced it, you really do understand. And there is a plethora of information out there. There are forums out there. We run a radio show called The Bald Truth, where 100,000 people tune into weekly to listen to and share their emotions and share their frustrations and share their anxieties. So there really is a community out there of hair loss sufferers that really do feel and are affected by, unfortunately, this the process of hair loss.
Tell me how it happened to you. Tell me how you experienced it and how you were feeling as each day passed and you lost more hair.
Well, I initially started looking at myself in the mirror and physically started to realise you lose 50% of your hair before you actually realise you're losing your hair. And at that time, it was just the reality of me when I asked my family family about my kind of my gene pool, so to speak, like my hair loss. Apparently, the fact was when I actually had the realization I was losing my hair, it was emotionally very disturbing, and it kind of caused so much anxiety for me that I ended up not going out. I ended up losing friends via the process. So, because I just didn't want to socialise. I didn't want to, get out there. If I did, I'd live under a hat. People would ask me, "Oh, why you wear your hat everywhere you go?" Which kind of amplified the issues for me personally. So it was very traumatic for me.
So for you, was it, the fact if you'd been, born with no hair, or everybody's born with no hair, but if you'd grown up with little hair or had been bald, throughout your life, it might have not been the issue for you, but for you it was the loss. That was the difference,
yes,
Spencer,
indeed.
the loss.
Yes, indeed, yeah, very, very well said. I think because I had so much hair and it was part of my image, to then lose it, and I think what is an insult to injury is because it's out of your control. Hair loss essentially initially is out of your control, or so I thought, which then it compounds the issue, and then leads to, it can lead to the depression and the isolation, like I say. But yeah, I think because I had so much hair, it was a massive loss for me. However, it's all relative. It's all relative to that individual. Nobody chooses to lose their hair. I think everybody, given the choice, would want a full lush head of hair. That is the fact of the matter.
I guess it's not helped by society's attitude, which you hinted at there, because it's been a great joke for a long time, bald men, hasn't it?
It has, unfortunately, and it's fantastic. The likes of James Nesbitt, who is obviously in the media today, that are breaking down some barriers. And that is why I put myself forward after the process I had been through of being very isolated, making several mistakes. I made my way.com and put a platform out there for people to get accurate information, because it is unfortunate kind of, get people and laugh about, but people that are experiencing it, it's very traumatic. And it's brilliant that, there are a number of platforms out there, forums, radio shows, like I mentioned, The Bald Truth, that can help people share their anxieties, and we can break down some the social stigma that is related to hair loss, because it is, people do go to their GPs with depression surrounding their hair loss, like they go to them depression about, the onset of hair loss can cause a multitude of problems: sleep deprivation, eating problems. It's a real reality, right, that it causes a lot of problems.
Spencer, stay with us a second. You're someone that's got a different view of it. Big D is on the phone line just now. Morning. Thanks for your time this morning. Thanks for joining us.
Morning, Stephen.
Fair to say, I've not met you, but I'm told you're completely bald.
I've got a little bit at the back, but not a lot, yeah.
And you're quite happy with that? Let's go back to Spencer Stevenson, 10 hair transplants. Spencer, what difference has it made for you now to describe how your hair is now?
Oh, well, I've got a full head of hair now, and it's completely transformed my life to the degree that I actually work in the industry daily, offering support and mentoring other hair loss sufferers to help guide them appropriately. But in terms of my personal life, it's completely transformed it. The irony is now I don't actually think that much about my hair, whereas it used to be every minute, every waking minute, you'd be agonising over it, scrutinising it. But it's given me a much better quality of life, although the irony is I don't actually think about my hair that much, if that makes any sense. But I do. Sorry.
I was going to say, Cheryl was making the point that some people have to come back and, have repeat treatments. If you started in, Spencer, would you do it again? Would you have an 11th transplant? If and when I needed it, yes, I personally would. However, it's a valid point, and that's why it is, as I mentioned previously, hair loss aggressive, unless you are appropriate proven treatments for drug for further loss, which my hair transplants, despite all being, I look up to prevented for the crown, which is vital, especially if you're starting out on the hair transplant journey at a young age, that you make sure prior to doing that you have stabilised and prevented further loss. It's like a builder. If he's going to build a wall to stand the test of time, he wants to put it on a strong foundation. And that is why treatment, stopping and stabilising hair loss is a very important part of the hair transplant process.
because it will mean in time you need fewer procedures and a fewer amount of hair transplants to be performed.
And let's rewind the tape back a bit and talk about what people can do to avoid the situation or to minimise the risk of losing hair. What treatments are available?
Well, there are proven treatments out there. There are common treatments such as minoxidil, well, the branded name Rogaine, which you can buy over the counter, which helps stimulate hair growth. But personally, the main weapon against hair loss is a proven treatment which has been out there a number of years, which is finasteride, which is a tablet that you take daily. Donald Trump has been in the media a great deal, despite everything that's going on in the world. But with regards to, he is actually a Propecia taker, or supposedly. His GP has put that information out there. And so finasteride is one of the main weapons to help prevent against further hair loss, stabilize it, and actually regrow hair if you can catch it in the miniaturization process. Now, however, like any medication, there are potential side effects. Finasteride is a prescription medication. You need a GP's prescription or a private GP's prescription. Unfortunately, a lot of GPs in daily practices aren't too familiar with the medication. So more often than not, you have to get a private prescription from somebody who's informed on the medication to be able to get a prescription for it. But there can be, like all prescription medications or over-the-counter medication, there can be side effects, loss in libido, sexual dysfunction. However, I've been on the medication 16 years, never had any issues with the medication. Some people claim it can create infertility. I fathered twins at first attempt. So
take good advice. The key thing is, as always, is get medical advice on these things. Spencer Stevenson, 100%. Thank you very much for your time this morning, and Cheryl Inglesi.